bonds, social bonds, and social venture capital. So we can see. Probably you already heard talking about. So these are debt instruments that are really have been specifically created and designed for projects related to climate and environmental impact. So, and to finance specific projects that are into this dimension. So let's start from who is issuing these tools, which are governments, corporation can do it, development banks, for example, like the EIB that Laura presented before. So the European Investment Bank started issuing green bonds some years ago. So which are the key criteria? I mean, there should be transparency. So it should state a clear use of funds for specific sustainable projects. You see, it's very important, the part of reporting. So we need to collect and to have and to monitor data that we are actually generating impact on the project. So it's an ongoing process. It's not just ex ante. So we're not just doing it at the end to see if we did something. It's more than monitoring. It's a continuous reporting. And of course, it has to be aligned with the EU Green Bond standard, and it should be verified the impact on the environmental dimension. So what it has been stated from the beginning, it should be realized at the end.
At the EIB, we're in the business of making projects happen. Projects that are not only beneficial for Europe's economy, but also for our people and our planet. One of the ways we get projects off the ground is by issuing green bonds, or climate awareness bonds, as we prefer to call them. But what exactly is a green bond? A bond can be thought of as a promise between its issuer and the investor. When an investor buys one of our bonds, in effect, they lend us money for an agreed period of time. We use this money for our activities, and in return, we commit to repaying the investor with interest. Simple, really. But green bonds are unique in the investment world. They're specifically tailored to green projects. The money coming from a green bond can only be allocated to low-carbon projects, such as renewables and energy efficiency. That's what makes a green bond special. To ensure success, we carefully measure the impact of these projects, tracking every euro that has been disbursed and the expected outcome. What's more, we share this information in a comprehensive and transparent way. You can check out our impact reports online. So that's all there is to green bonds, a socially responsible promise for the good of our planet. And when we at the EIB make a promise, we mean to keep it.
In the previous module, we inserted some case study. So, for example, still in Ile-de-France, in the mobility sector, they operated with green bonds. So they issued 1 billion in green bonds to fund electric public transport. So public services, public utilities, funded with the instrument, the tool of sustainable finance, so the green bonds, which were the purposes were to reduce carbon emissions and support clean energy, of course, and improve, first base, sustainable mobility in the Paris region. What they achieved, actually, they changed some of the facilities and vehicles of the mobility system in Paris city, having a modern and eco-friendly options, transport options for millions of citizens. So that is how this type of financial instruments can be used and are used nowadays. Next. We pass to social bonds. So if the first one, green bonds, were related to environmental dimension, we're moving to social bonds. So here we are going to the social dimension, to the social impact that we want to achieve through investments. Still, we have to remind what are bonds, especially social, so debt instruments where the funds that we raise as financiers, as donors, as an institution issuer, let's say, are used to finance or refinance projects that have that had a positive or are going to have a positive social impact. These are very well, they're starting to be used also in the, let's say, traditional bank system. So you can find it also issued from a normal bank. And the key features of this type of tools are that funds are specifically allocated to social issues. There are transparent updates. So as we said, the reporting, it's very important. It's ongoing process and it's not just at the end on how funds are spent and which are the KPIs that we are achieving, that we want to achieve, and what we are achieving during the ongoing process. And there is a clear tracking of the social impact achieved. As you can imagine, these are very difficult sometimes because measuring the impact, it's quite an important part of these kind of bonds and also of the projects that are funded with these bonds. So as Laura said at the beginning, the developing of careers related to these opportunities in this system, it's also the measurement of the impact that generated, which is very important and always important also in our European projects. So the purpose is to promote social inclusion and to protect vulnerable groups. So you can have it for projects that are funding, for example, the inclusion of people with mental health issues or that are part of minorities because of some disabilities, these kind of projects. Next, thanks.
I'm David Derbyshire from Action for Children, one of the largest charities in the UK.
I'm Jock Rogers, Strategic Lead Commissioner for Manchester City Council.
And I'm Daria Kuznetsova from Big Society Capital, a UK social investor.
A social impact bond is a new way to finance the delivery of public services, which involves three parties: a commissioner,
A service provider,
And an investor.
right across the country, local and central government commission services that are focused upon tackling a range of social issues. So, a commissioner might pay a charity like us to develop a service that supports young people at risk of entering care or custody.
and while we think it'll work, there's no guarantee specific outcomes will actually be achieved.
A C.I.P is different. It ensures commissioners only pay for services that deliver.
With the C.I.P, a commissioner establishes measurable outcomes the project should achieve.
For example, getting a qualification or improved school attendance. A charity or social enterprise develops a service to support a group of people to meet those outcomes.
An investor helps finance the project and enables staff to be hired.
Then, if the outcomes are achieved, the commissioner will then pay the investor back over time.
A C.I.P ensures commissioners only pay for what works.
Whilst allowing expert organisations to test new approaches and develop early interventions.
Most importantly, the focus on outcomes drives better performance.
And the investor can make both a social and financial return. C.I.Ps are being developed across the UK and internationally.
And are financing programmes tackling some of society's most complex social problems in a completely new way.
We have here, we reported an example of what is doing the EU about this. So it existed, this program, the EU Sure program, and it actually issued 100 billions in social bonds through this program existing. And it was allocated to COVID-related job protection programs. So it started after COVID. And what they wanted to achieve as impact? They want to increase the social inclusion and safeguard vulnerable groups. As we said before, it's very important. It's targeted. So you have to define the target that you want to, impact on. And it was to protect jobs and prevent layoffs during the pandemic. Okay, so to help support the market system and help the EU countries supporting workers and businesses during the crisis. So this is an example of how a government can choose to support through social bonds. Problems, needs of the society, of their communities, and helping them with constructing financial tools which is more accessible also to citizens that can better understand and that can actually have more trust as well in the achievement of their investment, of the project they want to support through their investment. So it's really important because also the part of the consumer, the buyer of the social bond should be active, is more engaged, and it's more important. Thanks. So we can pass to the concept of social venture capital. So it's investing for impact. It's the concept of the social venture capital. We also hear a lot talking about this. It's a new form of investment with a dual goal. It's a combination of what actually matters in finance. It's like a traditional finance and sustainable finance combined and merged in one concept, very important. So it's generating a financial return and creating positive social or environmental impact. So this is the concept that combines this dimension of finance and sustainability. So focus area are inclusive education, renewable energy, and waste to value. It can support, it's very important because it supports innovative solutions and it can help growing startups across Europe that are trying to develop businesses in this kind of in these areas. So it's very important to remind. So it's a traditional venture capital against social venture capital. We started with traditional finance and sustainable finance. We're declining now in the dimension of venture capital. So with traditional venture capital, we focus on high financial returns. So ROI, as Laura said, ROI, sorry, it's very important, is what moves people to invest. Investments are in profit-driven startup. So what you read in a business plan, in a proposition, it's the profit you want to achieve. And the sectors which are most common are in tech and fintech. So these are the areas. And as we will face it also in the next modules, even young people now are attracted to this kind of investments in this area. And the dimension of risk is very high, and it can bring substantial returns. So if you want high financial return, you have to remind that also the risk is very high, and you have to contemplate that when you choose to spend your money. And social venture capital, we said it focuses on social environmental impact. It invests usually in startups that are impact driven and not profit driven. This is the most important difference you should bear in mind. And the sectors are education, clean energy solution. Mostly it's the concept of inclusivity and inclusion declined in the social sectors. And the risk is high, but we can achieve a real change, so a real positive change. So these are the most important differences that it's good that you bear in mind if you start thinking about investing. So yeah, we have real life EU funded social impact startups. We put it there some examples because it's important that you also got to know what it's existing and it maybe can support your business plan of startups. So There are many startups funded in European countries that are driving positive impact across Europe and that are tackling social and environmental challenges. Some of our partners as well, many organizations we work with, stakeholders in our countries are like that. So there are programs like InvestEU, as Laura said before, that support sustainable investment and job creation in Europe, and expanding ecosystem, which is a collaboration between governments, university, and private sector. So bear in mind that having multi-stakeholders involved in this social impact investing is very important. So it's a combination of all the interest we have in a community brought together in the investment. Thanks. So here is a summary of what we talked about. So green bonds, if we have to make a real quick summary, they raise capital for environmental impactful projects like renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and they enable investors to support eco-friendly initiatives promoting climate action. Social bonds, the difference are that they are used to support social projects, that to fund projects that support vulnerable or fragile target group in our societies, or social issues like mental health or other type of needs of communities, and that should have a direct impact and positive impact on our and help improving well-being as well. Social venture capital, we said that it's a combination of the what is traditional finance and the concept of sustainability. So we want to focus on investing in startups and businesses that aim to solve social or environmental challenges while generating financial returns. So these three measures, tools, let's say, are very important. They exist and they are issued not only by organizations that are specialized in this, but also from the traditional bank system. So if you by chance have a national bank and you come across they're issuing some products, just check them and see what the type of project they may fund and how they work. It's very interesting to see locally what our bank system is doing, not only at the European level, but also locally. So these are tools that can be a way for you to start reducing the gap with the finance world. So they're very important.